The smell hits you first. Not the honey they're pouring over your face, sweet and sticky, attracting the first curious flies in the Persian heat. Not even the milk they reforcing down your throat until you gag and your stomach cramps, with the beginning of what will become uncontrollable diarrhea. No, what hits you is the smell of the wood, the two hollowed-out boats that will become your coffin for the next 17 days. Because that's how long scaphism takes. 17 days of consciousness, of awareness, of knowing exactly what's happening as insects burrow into your eyes, as larvae hatch beneath your skin, as your own waste pools around your body, trapped between those two boats, while the Persian sun bakes you alive, and the flies, oh God, the flies never stop coming. This is scaphism. The ancient Persians called it the boats. The Greeks who wrote about it centuries later called it the most depraved execution method ever conceived by human cruelty. And they were right. Picture this carefully, because every detail matters in understanding why scaphism represents the absolute pinnacle of being calculated human suffering. You're a soldier, maybe a nobleman, certainly someone who has committed a crime serious enough that merely killing you isn't sufficient. A Persian king, likely Artaxerxes II, has decided you need to die slowly, publicly, and in a manner that will haunt the dreams of anyone who witnesses it. They strip you naked first, because clothing would interfere with what comes next. Then they bring the boats, two narrow wooden vessels carved from tree trunks, shaped to fit a human body with grotesque precision. The first boat becomes your bed as they force you to lie down inside it. Your head protrudes from one end, your hands and feet from the sides, your genitals exposed to the air. Then they lower the second boat over you like a lid, leaving only those extremities exposed while the rest of your body is enclosed in darkness. They bind the boats together with iron nails, sealing you inside a wooden tomb where you can't move, can't turn your head, can't shield yourself from what's about to happen. But here's where scaphism transcends ordinary execution into something darker, more methodical, more psychologically devastating than simply roasting someone alive or crushing their skull. Because the Persians don't want you to die quickly. They want you to survive. They want consciousness. They want awareness. So they feed you. Every single day, attendants approach with bowls of milk and honey, and they force it down your throat, whether you want it or not, filling your stomach, until you're bloated, until the inevitable. Diarrhea begins until your own waste accumulates inside the boats, with nowhere to go, covering your back, your legs pooling around your immobilized body in the suffocating darkness. Then they smear more honey on your face, in your hair, on your hands and feet, on every exposed surface of skin, creating an irresistible banquet for every insect within miles of your location. And the insects come. Sweet God, do they come. The first day brings mostly flies, common houseflies attracted by the honey and the beginning smell of your waste. They land on your face, crawl into your nostrils, explore your ear canals, cluster at the corners of your eyes and mouth. You can't swat them away. Your hands are trapped outside the boats, bound in place, unable to reach your face. You can only lie there, feeling them walk across your corneas, feeling their tiny legs tickling your lips as they probe for moisture. By the second day, you're covered in fly eggs, hundreds of tiny white specks that you can feel being deposited in every crevice of exposed skin. Your face itches with them. Your scalp crawls with the sensation of ovipositors inserting eggs into your pores. And still, they force-feed you the milk and honey, keeping you alive, keeping your metabolism functioning, ensuring you won't escape through dehydration or starvation. The third day is when the maggots hatch. You can feel them wriggling in your eyebrows, squirming in your nostrils, burrowing into the soft tissue around your eyes. Some work their way into your ears, and you can hear them eating, a wet munching sound that fills your skull from the inside. The pain hasn't really started yet, because maggots secrete enzymes that partially numb the tissue they're reconsuming. But the psychological horror of feeling yourself being eaten alive from the outside in while you still completely conscious, still completely aware, still being force-fed honey and milk to keep you alive for more. That horror is already infinite. By day 4, larger insects have discovered you. Wasps arrive, drawn by the decomposition beginning inside the boats, where your waste has been accumulating in the heat. They sting your face, your exposed hands, your genitals, injecting venom that causes swelling and agony. But not death, never death, because scaphism is designed to keep you breathing, thinking, experiencing every moment of your disintegration. Historical accounts suggest that Mithridates, a Persian soldier condemned to scaphism by King Artaxerxes II, survived for 17 days. 17 days of being eaten alive. 17 days of insects crawling through the cavities they'd hollowed out in his face. 17 days of feeling his own flesh liquefying, of smelling his body rotting while he was still inside it, still conscious, still being fed honey and milk, each morning by attendants, who would then retreat upwind from the stench. The Greek historian Plutarch, writing centuries after the practice, described how Mithridates' screams could be heard throughout the palace grounds for the first week, how they gradually weakened to moans, then to whimpers, and finally, on day 17, to silence. By the time they opened the boats, there was barely enough of him left to identify as human. The insects had done their work efficiently hollowing out his body from the yantha outside, while the forced feeding kept his heart pumping, kept his brain functioning, kept him aware through every stage of his transformation, from living person to decomposing meat that still had thoughts. The sculptor Paralaus of Athens knew he was crafting genius when he designed the bronze bull, a life-sized statue, hollow inside, with a door in the belly for inserting condemned prisoners, and a system of pipes running from the interior chamber through the bull. Nostrils that would transform human screams into the musical lowing of an animal. He brought his masterpiece to Phalaris, the tyrant of Acragas in Sicily, in 560 BCE, expecting rewards, perhaps a permanent position as court artist, certainly recognition for creating an execution device that was simultaneously punishment, deterrent, and theatrical performance. What Paralaus didn't expect was to become the brazen bull's first victim, locked inside his own creation by a tyrant who wanted to test whether the pipes really did make human agony sound like animal music. They did, and while Phalaris mercifully removed Paralaus before the heat killed him only to throw him off a cliff, instead the brazen bull continued its career of turning human beings into slowly roasted meat, while crowds gathered to listen to the haunting, almost beautiful sound of screaming transformed into bullish bellowing. Understanding why the brazen bull represents a particular species of human cruelty requires understanding the mechanics of how bronze conducts heat and what happens to human tissue when exposed to gradually increasing temperatures in an enclosed space. The bull wasn't placed over an open flame for quick incineration. That would have been merciful. Instead, a fire was built beneath the bronze belly, and the metal was allowed to heat slowly, methodically, transforming the hollow chamber inside from room temperature to oven to furnace over the course of 30 to 40 minutes, while the condemned person experienced every degree of temperature increase, every stage of tissue damage, every threshold of pain receptors firing before finally being destroyed by the heat. You start by feeling warmth against your back, where you re-pressed against the bronze floor of the chamber. It's almost pleasant initially, like lying on sun-warmed stone. Then it becomes uncomfortable, the kind of heat that makes you shift position, trying to minimize skin contact with the metal. But there's nowhere to move inside the bull, no way to escape the warming bronze that surrounds you on all sides. Within 5 minutes, the temperature inside has risen enough that you're sweating profusely, your body desperately trying to cool itself through evaporation. But the enclosed space traps the moisture, creating humidity that makes the heat feel even more oppressive. Your breathing becomes labored as the hot air sears your lungs with each inhalation. You're starting to panic now, screaming for release, pounding your fists against the interior walls of the bull. And you're Screams are traveling up through those carefully designed pipes, emerging from the bronze nostrils, as something that sounds like an angry bull bellowing at the sky. The crowd outside is gathering, drawn by the sound, pointing at the bull, commenting on how realistic Parallel's acoustic engineering is, how the thing really does sound like a living animal. Meanwhile, inside, you're experiencing the first-degree burns as the bronze reaches temperatures that blister skin on contact. By minute 10, you can no longer touch any surface inside the bull without your flesh adhering to the metal and tearing away when you try to move. The air temperature has risen past 140 degrees Fahrenheit, and you're no longer sweating because the heat has shut down your sweat glands. Your skin is beginning to crack, splitting open as the moisture evaporates from your tissue faster than your body can replace it. The pain has transcended anything your nervous system was designed to process, triggering a flood of stress hormones that paradoxically keep you conscious even as your body begins shutting down. And still, the temperature climbs. The fire beneath the bull has been carefully tended by attendants who know exactly how much fuel to add, how to maintain consistent heat that will prolong the process without allowing the merciful unconsciousness that would come from shock if the temperature spiked too quickly. By minute 20, the bronze has reached approximately 300 degrees Fahrenheit, hot enough that the fat beneath your skin is beginning to render, melting and dripping away from your bones while you're still alive to feel it happening. Your screams have changed pitch and quality now, becoming higher, more desperate, no longer recognizable as human, even before they pass through Parallel's pipes. The acoustics are doing something interesting with the sound of flesh sizzling against superheated metal, creating harmonics that the crowd outside finds oddly mesmerizing. Some of them have brought food, eating lunch while they listen to the bull sing its death song. Children are present, learning from their parents that this is what happens to enemies of the state, that this is justice, that the sounds they're hearing are appropriate entertainment for a sunny afternoon in the Agra. Historical sources disagree on exactly how long victims survived inside the brazen bull before heat-induced cardiac arrest finally released them. Estimates range from 30 minutes to over an hour, depending on the size of the fire and the physical condition of the condemned. What the sources do agree on is that the bull was used repeatedly by Phalaris throughout his reign as tyrant, that it became his signature method of execution, and that when rebels finally overthrew him in 554 BCE, they gave him the same death he had inflicted on so many others, locking Phalaris himself inside the brazen bull and lighting the fire beneath it, while the citizens of Acragas gathered to hear their former tyrant transformed into music. Poetic justice, they called it, divine retribution. As if any god would endorse what the brazen bull represented, the transformation of human suffering into aesthetic experience, the engineering of torture into theater, the systematic brutalization of consciousness itself for the entertainment of crowds who had grown so accustomed to atrocity that they could eat sandwiches while listening to someone cook alive inside a bronze statue. The brazen bull's influence extended far beyond Phalaris, Sicily. Roman emperors later adopted the device, allegedly using it during Christian persecutions to execute believers who refused to sacrifice to the imperial cult. Saint Eustace and his family were reportedly roasted alive inside a brazen bull on the orders of Emperor Hadrian, their martyrdom commemorated in countless paintings and religious texts that somehow managed to make torture look holy, suffering look sacred, as if there was anything redemptive about being slowly cooked inside a metal statue, while crowds applauded the acoustic engineering. The bull's legacy persists in how we talk about torture, even today, in phrases like, "put to the fire," or "brass balls," that carry echoes of an execution method so effective at inflicting prolonged agony that it became a cultural touchstone, a reference point for it. Cruelty that transcends language barriers and historical periods. And somewhere in that persistence is a disturbing truth about human nature, that we are capable of designing machines specifically for the purpose of making other people suffer as much as us. Possible for as long as possible that we can engineer music from screams, theater, from dying entertainment, from the systematic destruction of human consciousness. The brazen bull wasn't an aberration. It was human ingenuity applied to the problem of how to hurt someone most efficiently, most publicly, most memorably. That's what makes it worse than a simple execution. Anyone can kill. It takes a special kind of imagination to turn killing into art.